All right, guys. So here we are. Hey, before we get started, I just want to let you know that I had a lot of people coming up to me yesterday after the social hour, asking questions about my presentation yesterday, Aging Evolution, and all the members that I showed you. Just want to reiterate, Aging Evolution is an online community of fit-minded people who are out to dispel the aging myths that are out there. We are worldwide, so members are located in various places. To provide them the ability to feel like they're part of the community, we have a forum for them where they can share their photos, post questions, talk to other members about their fitness journey. That feeling of you're not alone in the journey is very helpful to help you succeed. So that's what we provide them with, that ability. So anyone, you can join, your clients can join. Just go to agingevolution.com, that's the website, and you'll find everything you need there. You have on my presentation my contact information if you need. And also, if you enjoyed watching the photos that I posted up and very much more want to see more stuff that we have out there, don't forget we are on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can go out there and follow us and just cheer us on, all right? So, yesterday, when I started my presentation, I showed you where I started, okay, when I first took on this endeavor. We need to know and understand that it doesn't happen overnight. And I understand that not everybody wants to compete. That's not the objective of what I'm going to be talking about. And that is not my intention when I talk about my journey. My purpose is to show everyone what is possible when you commit and understand what to eat as part of living a healthy lifestyle and what type of exercise and activities you can do so that we can continue to feel great about ourselves and improve our health as we go through. Want to show you a little bit of some of the stuff I do when I'm at the gym or up on the stage. So the purpose of sharing that with you is to show you when I'm talking about building muscle, I'm not talking about, and getting all masculine. We're talking about toning your body, okay, and just getting it into the condition that you need. And when I'm talking about shredding, I'm also not talking about taking yourself like, where you have rips and things all over the place. You can do this with what I'll be discussing. But that is not what we're going to try and do. This is something that's more realistic for you to do every single day. So a lot of people say to me, well, I'm doing everything. I'm trying to lose weight. I can't. I go to the gym. I do a lot of cardio. I eat very healthy. But nothing's changing. Nothing's happening. So the things that we need to consider is, what are we eating? How much are we eating? Okay? And what kind of activities do we call we're doing things, okay? So activity-based eating, all right? We need to understand how do you eat for the activity that you are going to perform. So for example, as a bodybuilder, I may eat a lot more than someone who is sitting in an office, living a very sedate life, okay? We also eat differently according to our sporting event. So as a bodybuilder, I tend to keep my carbs always very low, Whereas if I were going to be a marathon runner, they like to get in a lot of carbs in that process because that's where they're going to get their energy. Whereas for bodybuilding, we'll keep our carbs low so that we burn our fat and then eventually go after our protein, and we can get energy that way without sacrificing the muscle that we have within us. So understanding when to eat and what to eat is very important. With that comes the macronutrients when we think about that. So all calories, as you know, consist of three things: protein, carbohydrates, and fats. The breakup of that is important to what it is that you are trying to achieve, okay? Many people don't realize that without analyzing what it is that you're taking in, many of us are just not taking in enough protein, okay? We think we are because we eat maybe meat once a day, okay? The total amount of protein that you need, not only to build muscle, but to stay strong. I personally shoot to take in whatever my weight is, that's how much I eat in grams of protein, which is a lot of protein, okay? So protein, no matter what stage I am in throughout my entire course, stays very, very high. As I'm trying to lean out, I might drop it some, but for me, 75% of my intake is protein. Only 25% of my intake is carbohydrates. Most of us, and I know I was in that category before, didn't realize that I was actually eating the complete reverse. 75% of my intake was carbohydrates and very little protein. So, you start with morning skipping out, because you got to get to work, to the gym, wherever it is that you're going, and so you skip breakfast. Then lunch, nice big salad, all carbohydrates if you didn't put any protein in it, right? And then you wait until dinner, which is pretty late in the day, stick in some protein in there, along with a big serving of carbohydrates just before you're going to bed. A myth: you cannot eat late at night because you're going to gain weight or you're not going to lose weight. Absolutely not true. You can eat late. I eat as late as 9, 10 o'clock at night, my last meal of the day. It depends on what it is that you are eating. If you are taking in a carbohydrate, you're not doing anything with it. Now you're going to put your body to rest, and you're not doing any exercise or movement of any kind to make use of that carbohydrate, so it serves no purpose. If you eat your last meal and it is protein, and if your last meal includes even a little bit of fat in it, it will take that protein and it will start breaking down that protein and using it in your body to help you build muscle. The little bit of fat makes it a slow release protein. So it doesn't just 2 hours after you ate it, it's already in your bloodstream. The fat, like a peanut butter or something, really slows it down, okay? So there's nothing wrong with eating. I've eaten egg whites at night just before I go to bed, drink a protein shake before I go to bed, okay? So you can eat. I won't eat meat at that hour of the night because it's just hard on your digestive system now that you're going to sleep. But yes, I do want some protein in my system before I go to bed at night. Just avoid the carbohydrates. So when and how to fuel your body, okay? We talk about that. Most people say they eat 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't even call mine breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I refer to everything I put into my system as a meal. And I have 6 to 7 meals a day. I try to eat every 3 hours. The reason we call them meals is all of my meals are roughly about the same amount of calories, okay? When you do that, this is what happens. You keep your insulin level consistent. You don't get any spikes. You don't get crash, tired, exhausted, okay? I keep my blood pressure. Everything stays nice and even. More importantly, you train your body. You train your body to know food is coming. We know when it's coming. It knows that it needs to use up what we ate before, get it out of here, make room, more food is coming, okay? When we are trying to lose weight, this is the mistake that I made and so many people you'll see make, is I want to lose weight, therefore I need to cut back on how much I'm eating, okay? And I'm going to start skipping meals, okay? When you do not eat enough for your body's requirements, your body takes whatever you gave it last, and it says, this crazy lady is going to put me in starvation mode. So I am going to hold on to whatever she gave me, and I'm not letting it go. And then you don't lose weight. So what do? Eat a little less. Every time you're doing that, you're forcing your body to retain what you last gave it. This is only going to be fat on your body. It's not going to be useful to build any muscle or do anything for you. So understanding that you need to eat, you need to know how much you need to take in for your body and what it is that you're doing as far as activity, okay? So it's okay to eat several times a day. Make sure you start off with breakfast in the morning. You've been in fasting mode and you want to jumpstart that metabolism, okay? People say, oh, you know, as we get older, our metabolism slow down. Absolutely true. It is. But it doesn't have to stay that way, okay? So, again, by eating all your meals and putting them in this cycle where it knows when it's getting fed will also be the way that you'll start seeing your metabolism picking up again. Monitoring what you eat. I happen to be a big proponent of keeping track of everything that I eat. It's a lot easier for me because I don't vary my meals. I don't introduce tons of different meals when I'm eating. So once I figure out what it is that I'm eating, I know how much it is that I'm taking in. There are so many tools available out there to monitor what it is you're eating, to see how much you're taking in calorie-wise, how many grams of protein are you getting in, how many grams of carbs. There's what FitnessPal and many other tools. I happen to just be old-fashioned. I use an Excel spreadsheet, but I'll calculate it out so that I need to know that, okay? I need to make sure that my protein is always staying high because I want to build muscle. I don't want to get brittly. I don't want to get osteoporosis. I want my body to always stay strong, okay? And that's how I'm going to do it in addition to strength training. But what I'm eating is very important. So monitoring what you eat is very important to tell your clients. All the clients, okay? I look at like my mother-in-law. What are you eating? They're like afraid of food and they take in so little. And then they're wondering why they're doing this, you know? Eat a meal. Oh, I can't eat all that. You can. You can. You start eating and you'll get used to eating a little bit more and a little bit more, and you do a little activity, you'll burn that off and you'll feel hungry again. But starving yourself is just not going to be beneficial to your health. And if we're talking about longevity here, remember, food is very important. And don't forget, if you haven't seen this mime out there, to remind you that it's 70% of this is food. Only 30% is what I do in the gym, okay? People think it's the other way around. It's like I'm going to work myself off and I'm going to lift for 12 hours and by golly, why am I not seeing results? The gym is just a small portion of what it is to do what you want with your body. It's all about the food intake, and too many people put that as the last equation in their journey of what it is they're doing. It is the most important. As it is staying hydrated. I drink a minimum of 1 gallon of water a day. Yesterday, I was telling my husband, because I've been sitting here and running from room to room, I was not getting as hydrated as possible. The minute we broke, before we went to the social hour, and I went upstairs and tried to take off my heels, the first thing that happened, my calves cramped. And I'm like, oh, get me some water, okay? My body felt dehydrated. It just, where was all this water you're supposed to be giving me? So keeping your body hydrated, 1, helps flush the toxins out of your system, okay? 2, pushes the food that I told you to make sure you eat where it's supposed to go, which is to the muscle, okay? So we can eat the stuff, but if we don't have any fluid to turn on and keep pushing this stuff through our system, again, you're half-stepping your way through it. So make sure you stay hydrated. And then there is a different way to eat when you're trying to build muscle or get bigger versus how you eat when you're gonna lean out. And I'm gonna you can't see this, but I just wanna give you an idea. When I'm trying to build muscle, okay, so that's in my development stages, beginning of the year when I first started preparing for my show. A breakfast, I would eat like 6 egg whites, 6 ounces of egg whites, 1 whole egg, and half a cup of oats. That would be roughly 365 calories and 27 grams of carbs, right? Now that I am in my leaning out stage and I actually want to drop the weight, notice, I still eat egg whites, but I cut it down. I still have the whole egg because it gives me the protein. But instead of eating oatmeal, I've switched and now I add a cup of spinach, right? That small change, 365 calories versus 185, but look at the carbs. I went from 27 to 3, okay? This is how we lean out. You pull back. Notice, my protein is still pretty high, okay? But you start with the carbs. You switch the carbs that you're eating. All carbs are not created equal, okay? Here's another example. Let's say it was lunch. So 5 ounces of chicken, 125 calories, 35 grams of protein, no carbs. I have a cup of veggies and a half a cup of rice. And someone was asking me, do I eat rice? Yes, I eat rice. Half a cup of rice. 64 grams of carbs. Okay, so that's pretty heavy. That took me to a total for my lunch at 72. That's when I'm sustaining, I'm lifting heavy, I'm trying to build. Time to take it down, I'll still eat chicken and I'll still eat the cup of veggies, but that rice is history. Okay? Rice is history, and look what I did. I went from 72 grams of carbs to 8. Am I starving myself? No. I'm eating. So you don't need to make your portion sizes smaller. It is the composition of what it is that you're eating. That is how you switch what you're eating for what it is that you're trying to do. So leaning out does not mean cutting back your food intake, just switching in and out your carbs. So I just want to show you this, which helped me support that you can build muscle after 50 and 60. I do have a lot of muscle. This is when I'm building before I actually start to lean out. And as you lean out, as you can see, I can't help it, you are gonna lose some muscle in the process. That's just what happens. This is why when we're building, you see some bodybuilders, we tend to put on a lot of weight. That's temporary, because the only way we can build that muscle is to take in more food. So we're getting bigger. And then we get down to what it is, which is what we normally look like, is like this, by dropping the amount of food as far as carbs that we're taking in. But you can build muscle. And I see that all the time, and people say, well, no, you can't build muscle, it's not possible. Another complete myth. If we lift too heavy, we're gonna look like a man. We're gonna get just too much muscle. We do not, ladies, have enough testosterone in our body to do that, okay? When and you see something like that, I will bet you that is not natural, and there's a lot of substance being entered into that body. An all-natural competitor, which to me, as a cancer survivor, that is the biggest struggle I have when I stand up on stage. Because when I'm standing there and my competitors are not natural, and I am, guess what? to the judges, they're like, "Ay, you just don't have enough muscle." And I'm like, well, I'm not taking anything, okay? I survived cancer. I am not going to put junk into my system for a stupid trophy. That's my opinion. We're not going there, and I don't want to look like that, okay? So don't worry about how much you lift. It is not going to change your composition to a point where you think it looks so differently. Strength training. So now we know about eating the food and how that's going to impact. So now let's talk about the training aspect of it. Strength training is required for everyone. And it shouldn't matter what your age is. We should all be lifting. Okay? Just the intensity is what's going to change, or the type of lifting that we're going to do, right? But strength training is very important. And there you can do machine versus free weights. When I am training alone, by myself, I use both. I find the difference for me is, or for everyone I should say, is when you think of free weights, okay? If I were doing lateral raises with some dumbbells, okay, there is only so much weight I'm going to be able to do if I'm using free weights, okay? There is just absolutely no way I'm going to be able to do lateral raises with 80 pounds. That is just not going to happen. But yet I can get on a machine, and the machine will help me to lift even heavier, and therefore I will be able to do 80, 100, 150 more. So you want to vary up all the tools that are available to you, all the different options. I love resistance bands. Resistance bands put on different tension. I use resistance bands constantly when I do leg workout, and now I've actually incorporated resistance bands when I'm doing back workouts. So I like to put my resistance band around my legs, okay, depending on which back activity I'm doing. So if you picture, standing here with the bar, right? Now I have a resistance band on my legs as well, okay? I'm working back, but what that band is doing, it's keeping me in a position where I'm engaging my glutes, right? I'm keeping my entire posterior chain engaged, okay? And pull yourself out, and now I'm not just working up a body, I'm keeping everything engaged as well. So go ahead, take your clients as well and throw those bands in there, whatever it is we're doing. If we're standing and do a bicep curl, put it on. Tell them, feel it, extend your legs, push it out, push your butt out. Do it. Why not? Why just work one part when you can kind of get everything engaged? Because that's typically what happens. We focus so hard on trying to work one body part that we forget that everything else, I'm sure you say it all the time, engage your core, stand up straight, do that, because we forget, we start focusing on just the one activity that we're working. So you incorporate all this stuff into this thing. When I am looking to build, what I do is I will make the weight as heavy as I can possibly handle. I will drop the number of reps that I will do. And now I'm no longer doing any cardio activity, right? So kind of standing still, and all I'm concerned with is just putting tension on that muscle. Conversely, when I'm trying to lean out, forget the heavy weight. That's when I'm going to go to the very light weights, okay? And now it's going to be about reps, and just tons of reps. I'm at a faster pace, which is also getting my heart rate up. I'm involving some aerobic activity in that process. I'm moving the weights faster, and I'm supersetting, okay? Moving from this, moving to that, getting more activities. When we're building, we tend to stay in one place and just focus, just right there, just to do that process. So that's another way that we change up the type of exercises that we're doing if we're building muscle versus leaning out. Training frequency will vary from person to person. 3 times a week, 4 times a week. I actually train 6 days a week. When I start, let's say, November, December, I call it my me time, kind of pull back a little bit more, and I may only lift 4 times a week during that time. Once January comes in, I kick it up. I go to 6 times a week. I hit every body part twice a week. Okay, that is one of the cycles that I use. When I'm in the very, very building stage, I will hit a body part and let it rest for 3 days before I come back and hit that body part again. Because what I want to do is hit it as hard as I possibly can, which will help me to tear down that muscle, okay? And now once I've torn down that muscle, I need to give it sufficient time to build itself back up, okay? To heal itself, you know? And then this way I can hit it again. If not, it's what you hear about that overtraining. You tear the muscle down, then the next you tear the muscle down, and you tear the muscle down. When does it get a chance to rest and grow? So, plenty and plenty of time in between, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. When I'm doing this, and I'm trying to lean out, one day I'll still not hit that until another day later, okay? Or I will do it differently. I will drop some weights, you know, even more if I wanted to just like touch it up a little bit, okay? But you cannot, like with anything, you can't keep hitting something hard, and think that you're gonna get results. You are not gonna get results. You're going to set yourself up for injury, okay? You are also tearing at your body. And this is not what you want to do, just tear it down. We call it tearing your body, getting these fibers, but it's not like we are hurting it, okay? We are just taking that muscle and getting it ready to build and go up. And we already talked about some of the lifting myths, which, as I said, you know, that if we lift too heavy, you know, we're just going to just blow up. That's not going to happen to you, okay? I can tell you that cardio is extremely beneficial for you. I am not a fan of cardio. I do it because I know that it's good for me and I have to do it, but if I never had to do cardio in my life, that's fine. I don't mind, you know, my walking outside or something like that, but I mean like really intense cardio, that's just not my thing. I would rather lift several times before I like to do cardio. But think of all the benefits we get from cardio. So we have to do it, you know, a cardiovascular response, okay, that gets your blood going, your heart rate moving, okay? It is essential if you're talking about weight management, okay, making sure you get that cardio in there. So how much cardio is too much cardio? Again, depending on what it is you do and how often it is you do it. I see some people in gym who, I call them cardio queens. I mean, they're going at it for hours. And I'm looking and I'm going, my God, she's disappearing. But they are just obsessed with cardio. Too much of anything is not going to be good for you either. So figuring out which cardio benefits you more. I happen to love Stairmaster. That I can do. I can climb the Stairmaster for days and days and days and days. Running, not me. I always say, if anybody sees me running, you should run too, because it means somebody's chasing me, okay? So I do not like to run. Steady state is good, okay? When I'm in my building stage, I want to keep my cardio very low, okay? And I go steady, because I don't want to burn up everything that I'm working toward. I don't want to start eating away at my muscle. Just a little bit of cardio at that point, whereas later on when I'm leaning up, I'm going to step up my cardio here. Okay? I do that. And HIIT is something that I've come to enjoy HIIT. All the different variations of HIIT that we can do in there. Very, very creative, some that they've come up with. Those are great to put in there. And again, depending on which time, what phase, you know, HIIT is a very good tool that you can use. Anybody here have a particular HIIT program that they enjoy much doing? All right, and is that proprietary to your franchise? So it's for 30 minutes. Very good. Anybody else?
Smells great. It's just a lot of fun, very engaging.
Yeah.
Changes.
Exactly. You need that interesting element, okay? This is how you're going to keep people engaged and not going like, I'm done. You know, cardio can get boring, you know? You're sitting there and you're doing something and your mind wanders off to something else. You're missing the benefit of what it is that you're doing. If you get engaged in a group session, you do a fun activity in your HIIT program, challenges your body. A lot of times you don't realize you're working out. Before you know it, you're like, oh, look, time is up. This is great. You know? So I think that's really good to do. Like I said, I've been doing HIIT, a couple of HIIT exercises. A couple of weeks ago, I had me doing HIIT on the treadmill, and I was like, okay, you know, we do this, and jump off the treadmill and do some squats, and then get back on the treadmill, and just, you know, it made it fun. It was like, oh, this was pretty cool. Nothing will be successful if you're not keeping track of it. You need to know where you're starting from and where it is that you're going, and the only way you're going to figure out if this is happening is to be able to monitor it, okay? Tracking your progress is very important. There are many ways. I'm sure in the gym you guys do when you do weigh-ins when they first start out, right? People tell you what is their weight, okay? So you know where they're starting and what are we trying to achieve here. I happen to do a weigh-in every week. I have to report to my coach, what is your weight today? And we keep track of it on a schedule so that we can see if we're building, that weight better be going up, and if we're dropping, that weight better be going down. And because of my thyroid, or I should say lack of thyroid, that cardio aspect of it and weight management is not an easy thing, okay? I have to be conscious of if I overwork my body, my system literally shuts down. Poof. It says, I ain't doing anything. And then all the problems start to happen, and that's when I have to go into my doctor, and he'll run blood work, which now I can tell him when I've done that. That's how much I am in tune to my body, that I can make an appointment and say, system crash. And he'll run the blood work, and he goes, yes, system crash. You should be so in tune to your body. No one is more of an expert than you on your own body, okay? So you should know what feels good, what doesn't feel good, okay? How you're responding to what you're doing, the sensitivities that you feel, okay, when you're eating this or doing that, so that you can then tailor this stuff and then go ahead and make your adjustments as you need for that. So the weigh-in, while I'm not a big fan of it because everybody's afraid of the scale, nobody likes it, you know, you feel like, do I have to really tell somebody else my weight, okay? But it plays a role, and it's important. We also do progress photos, okay? As I showed you in that picture, you don't see the changes when you're looking at yourself every day in the mirror, but you'll hear other people say something. Somebody say, oh, you're losing weight. Oh, you notice, because you don't see it, okay? So these photos we like to take, you know, front, back, and sides. And again, I'll report those in every single week at the same exact time. I'll take the photos, I'll send those in so we can see if the body is changing the way we were expecting it to change. So, I mean, I don't know if your clients would be for something like that, but at least a photo, as you saw me when I first joined the gym, okay, a good starting point, all right, so they can celebrate their achievements later on when they see the difference and go, oh, I did do something, okay? I think that's a good do. And I'm sure many of you here have all the tools available to you to do body composition reviews, okay? Do you find that your clients are open to doing this, or do you have to push it on them? Which ones, what do you do for them? Anybody else? Anyone? Anything here?
My clientele, so they're...
Oh no, this is my lady here, 103?
102.
Wow.
They're not really concerned about weight.
Yes.
They're more concerned about mobility and keeping active. So I don't harp on the body comp.
That's good.
I worry about
Absolutely, absolutely.
What are you doing, and are you doing more? Are you doing it better? And that's where my focus is with my clients.
That's absolutely correct.
I like the body composition because it takes the focus off the food.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they're so focused on, oh, I didn't lose any weight, but look at the muscle you gained.
Yes, absolutely.
Then it's a better focus, I think.
I totally agree. And because that's why we don't like the scale, because the scale is not an indicator that something is not happening, okay? Just like you could measure yourself. To prove that point, that's exactly what my coach did when we looked at the stuff, which is the weight that I weighed when I first started at the gym, I am weighing that right now again. But it looks completely different, okay? I'll take that. It is the same exact weight, she says, Evie. It's the same exact weight. So you can make those changes, and it helps. Also, one that I don't like is, I don't particularly like BMI. I think PMI is just, I don't even know where they came up with this idea that this is a great indicator for us. And it just classifies all of us as obese. You know, it is just not a good barometer. And the other thing that is important is whatever way you measure your progress, whatever way it is always you to you, not to this age group or this group of people or this type of body type, another one, body type. It is you to you, you know, and what it is that you want to look like. Okay, so that's important when you do comparison. I do the same thing when I'm lifting. I don't care about how much muscle the other girl has. I care about, do I have more muscle than I had last time? Okay, and now it's a year later, do I have more than I did then? You know, that to me is the objective, not someone being subjective and putting me against other people and determining whether or not that is enough or not enough. So to yourself is what's important. But it's sharing with someone else, whether it's they share with you or they share with their spouse or their best friend or someone. You need to let others know where you're going. What are you trying to achieve? Okay? Because if not, you kind of go, well, you know, I missed that one, but nobody knows. Nobody knows but me, and so it's not a big deal. So to me, I think the accountability aspect is very, very important. Yeah, I am strict, and I may say, yeah, I'm going to do stuff. Perfect example of accountability for me, I find, I am so for personal trainers. People ask me all the time, why do you have a personal trainer? I mean, don't you know how to do that stuff? I'm like, even personal trainers have personal trainers, okay? At the professional level, you think all those people out there, basketball, football, you don't think they have trainers? Everybody has a trainer, okay? What I love is that the trainer is going to be, yay, first person who's going to keep me accountable. 2, help me make sure I understand what it is that I'm doing. Think I know the reason? I may know what muscle group I'm working, okay? But there is so much value in working. And I tell people, if you're serious about this, you really need to consider working with a trainer. Yes, it is an investment, but it's an investment that's going to get you to the goal that you're trying to achieve. So that's just me. I happen to like personal trainers. I'd like to talk about avoiding injury. I've noticed in myself when I've suffered injury, for example, when I first started out trying to do some tricep exercise, I injured myself, and I'll tell you that it took me a year before that actually healed, okay? And the same thing for my knees. I did one of those box jump things, which now I go, no, that's not me. Yeah? I always say there's more than one way to skin a cat. Find a different activity. I'm not doing any jumping. I just don't like jumping. But I injured my knee, and that took me like 2 years to recover from that. You know? It's painful as we get older. Yes?
And if you're a lady of a certain age, when you're jumping, all you can think about is you got to be.
You know,
Not many women, I teach fitness too, and we don't put a lot of that jumping.
yeah.
Just because their pelvic floors don't allow it, so you got to consider that.
it's just jarring on the body. Some of us are good at it. I remember when I showed you Stephanie, who just jumped, right? She loved it, understanding to bend, I think, at the right moment so that your knees are not like coming down with force on them, all that kind of stuff. If you can do it, great. And if you can't, don't do it, When something tells something, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, okay? Listen to your body, okay? But when I was talking about injury, I'll tell you a funny story. I had, suffered that injury and my knees were hurting, so I wore those sleeves, right? So I had a sleeve on both arms, and I had sleeves for my knees, and I was in the gym one time, and the manager comes over and he goes, "You sure you wouldn't want to try ballet or something?" And I just let him know, "What's wrong?" He goes, "I'm not sure if the sport's agreeing with you." And I was like, "Oh, no, I just want to make sure." She goes, I'm kidding. I want you here as a client. But, it just looked funny. I mean, I came like ready for war. Okay, let's lift. I came prepared. I still, when I am lifting heavy, tape my knees up. I just do. It gives me the feeling that I'm in control, that my knees are not going to wobble out of shape, and I love wearing a belt, okay, when I'm going to do squats, because my biggest fear is always lower back. I just don't want to be one of those people who's always saying, "Oh, my back hurts." So, yeah, my limitation may be in my head. If my form is right, that shouldn't happen, but this just gives me that little extra feel of comfort putting it on. There's pros and cons, they say, about wearing these belts. You actually make your body weaker. I don't know if that's true. You get dependent on them, and then you don't, engage properly. I don't know. Does anybody here ever use belts or?
I don't use any, and I encourage people not to go there,
Uh-huh.
but work on form and, of course, a proper progression. Over the whole 25 years been doing this, myself, I don't wear any belts.
No belts.
But you got to get to the point where you're really in tune and aware and present when you work out.
Correct. That's true.
Avoid injuries is always the first, number one.
Absolutely. You were going to say something about belts?
I just find it's almost like an awareness thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they connect more to the they can feel it and they can feel the pressure a little bit more themselves.
Okay.
So not relying on it, but just using it almost as a cue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know my trainer doesn't like me to wear the belt. I'll just say, I'm only going to put it on when we're squatting, and then once we finish squatting, there's just impossible for me to wear a belt like that and try to do leg press anyway. You're like, that's not going to happen. But I put it on for squats, and then I take it back off. So it's just my little comfort blanket that I use. Like I said, she would prefer that I not, because she's saying, I don't want you to get dependent on this. But anyway, the more important thing is to remember that we need to warm up our body, okay? We need to get it ready to train. Just like when we do anything else, we prepare, we do things. So we could do a little bit of cardio, maybe to warm ourselves up, do a couple of reps with the weights, anything to get us ready. And more importantly, to get this ready as well, as you were saying, is, are you here? Are you present? Or are you paying attention to somebody else? It takes just one little looking at what's going on over there while you're exercising your thing to turn around and hurt yourself, So we have to be present and focus and understand that an injury as we get older can really just knock us out of the game or really put us at a setback of the goal that we're trying to achieve. And proper form, which is why I love working with a trainer, or being with someone else. Form is going to be everything. Otherwise, you are just wasting our time, right? You're just wasting time. You see people in the gym doing things that you're like, I just wonder what they think they're working, okay? Some of the creative routines, or my favorite, going so heavy, because we want to go heavy, but you're not getting anything, okay? You miss the muscle altogether, and so what was the point of all that weight, my favorite, lat pull down, where they're laying down on the bench and they're doing all this rocking thing. But you know what? I got a lot of weight on here. Forget the weight, drop the weight, get the form, and that's more valuable. So I think that is something you have to be conscious of. It's not how much weight, it's your form and just a little bit of weight. If your body hasn't been lifting, it will respond. Okay, you can get just as sore with the little bitty weight than you do with the heavy weight. Don't go it alone, to me, I like, because when you're with someone else or with your trainer, now you have someone who can spot you, okay? So many people who don't have someone to spot them, you're not gonna be able to go heavier if you don't have somebody to spot you. You also want someone to be looking at your form. And I just find that if you can find someone that's at your level, then that kind of brings that little competition into the equation where you want to keep up, okay? You don't want to not finish your rep while the other person is finishing their reps and stuff. So it just helps. It also makes it more exciting and fun if we're doing this together. So I think that's good for us to not go it alone. Muscle soreness. I actually enjoy muscle soreness. I really do. To me, when I leave that gym and I got the feeling like, I feel like that was a great work. I got, a good one in. But you're not always going to get muscle soreness, particularly if you're always hitting that area anyway. It's mostly when I switch the activity that I'm doing and hitting it from a different angle or something like that. So muscle soreness isn't bad, but I tell people pain is always bad, okay? Pain is the minute that you stop and pull back. And not to me, I'm like, the minute I feel that something's not right, I just stop. I'll drop the weight, I'll pull back, no, we're not doing this, okay? Because again, what's more important to me is I do not want to sideline myself with an injury. We talked about overtraining, importance of recovery. That's the time when we're actually building the muscle. We're not building the muscle when we're at the gym. We all know that, right? So getting people to understand that importance of recovery. We don't want to see you back in the gym again tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that and trying to work the same area again. It's not that you're being shushed out of the gym, but there's a reason why. We're telling you when to train, how to train. You need to think about that all the time. It's like, well, I just did shoulders yesterday. I'm not going to do shoulders again today. Or come back later on in the day. I've seen people at the gym several times in one day. And you think about, are you at least changing up what it is that you're doing? Benefits of rest days. I get excited when I get a rest day because that's time to do something else. And when it means a rest day, it means a rest day. Doesn't mean let's, turn around and, we're going to just do a different activity and still be. I just like to let that muscle rest. And I, like I said, will increase the amount of rest days a lot in between muscle groups if it's very early in the process as opposed to at the end. And I take supplements, which help me. Take some glutamine or anything. I just, if my coach says, I want you to do this, tell me if your muscles hurt and stuff like that, I'll take something to think about. You want to just take care of yourself, all right? My favorite is massages. I just think a nice, deep tissue massage not only feels good, but it helps with the recovery and the pain that you might have in that muscle. And foam rollers. How many of the clients remember and actually do make use of the foam rollers? Do you see them doing that, right? They come in, I'm ready, right? And when they're done, they go, okay, I gotta go, right? Just no stretching, no getting ready, prepared beforehand, no relaxing afterwards. The foam roller, I find the foam roller is painful. It can be painful, okay? I can never get certain body parts. I mean, if I could figure that out, I sit on it. I see everybody sitting on it, and they're like really getting into it. I don't feel it. I can feel it in my back, the shoulders, my sides. Don't touch my quads. They scream, So I can feel it. So if I feel that way, I love my Epsom salt. Nice, Dr. Teal has this lavender-scented Epsom salt. Have you tried that one? Yeah, you do that one at night, and you just the aroma of that lavender and that relaxing feeling, I sleep like a baby. So, Epsom salt. And getting plenty of sleep. As it is, we just do not tend to get enough sleep to begin with, okay? But if we remind ourselves that it's at that time when all this repairing and recovering and muscle building is happening, we need to get adequate amount of sleep. I go to sleep at the same exact time every night. I'm conscious of what it is that I'm doing. I'm like, oh, gotta go to bed. Gotta go to bed. I get up at the same time. My body has its own rhythm, and I make sure that I keep it steady like that. Yeah, little spikes here and there happens, you know, things that come up and we have to do and stuff like that. But I try to keep it consistently. And I find that without my thyroid, I mean, there are so many issues that arise that I just want to try and keep under control. So getting enough sleep for me, making sure I stay hydrated, keeping away from certain foods. So somebody was asking me that today about, like, you know, should you eat this or can you eat that? Or I do not eat this because the doctor said, you know, don't. I don't know about it. I'm not a nutritionist, you know, but I don't know that to lose weight you need to eliminate any type of food. But I do believe in limiting your intake of salt, sugar, okay, maybe that way, watching your fats, you know. But that we just take a whole category out of the equation, I don't think that that is something that's necessary, but you do have to know if your body has a sensitivity to something. So for example, without a thyroid, this is where me and my doctor have this difference of opinion, and we work together because as long as he says I'm monitoring you, is I am actually supposed to limit, and when he means limit, he's like, maybe once a week, limit my intake of greens, okay? And we have a bodybuilder here in the room, a pro, right? What do we eat mostly when we're trying to lean out? Greens. So 3 times a day, maybe to consume a cup of veggies 3 times a day. And I'm doing that every day, and then after 2 weeks, I'm in my doctor's office going, sister, and he's like, you cannot process greens. Your system cannot handle them. So I do things that perhaps he wouldn't like me to do, and as he says, I can't argue with the results. We do your blood work, and we look at your numbers, and everything keeps continuing to improve and look great. I'm not going to tell you to do this. But I'm asking you to be cautious of what it is that you're doing. So I kind of work with, you know, my coach as to how to vary things up so that it fits me. And I'm still getting the same objectives. So that's why it's important to know your body and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Remember that it's a journey, not a destination. It's not going to happen overnight. How many of your clients ask you the first thing you know is, when am I going to see results? Right? I don't see anything happening. Nothing is changing. It's, you know, it took years perhaps to get to where you are. And we're going to wave a magic wand and it's all going to change, you know, with just a couple of weeks. It is going to take a long time to undo this stuff, you know, to figure out what is working, what needs to change to get you to do. So don't be obsessed with that. It should be a lifestyle change. Okay? It's not a diet. It's not a fad. It's not getting me from here to here, and then when I'm here, what happens? We go right back here. Okay? If we're not learning why we need to change the way to eat in a way that's fit, that's going to keep you healthy, and not because you're trying to lose some weight, okay? Changing the way you eat is the key to me of the health that we plan to have and be around for a long time. So it's not going to happen overnight. Surround yourself by a circle of friends. You know, if the people that you're with aren't supportive of what it is that your goal is, that's not necessarily going to help. You want positive reinforcement. You want people who are going to support you and be in your corner when you need to do things. Why don't you want to go out to eat? You know, how come you're not hanging out? You know, if you're doing something, They should be supportive of it. So if that's not going to be helping you to stay focused on your goal, then you might want to consider who it is that you're having around you, because that's going to keep you open. And be open-minded and willing to change. You know, understand that you're going to perhaps be exposed to things that, I don't want to do that. Well, trust. You have to trust that some of these things are going to be good for you, okay? And we just want to be able to try them. Like I said, to think about it, keep an open mind, be willing to change. The girl who never wanted to step foot in the gym, okay? And now, as my husband calls me, a gym rat, and I'm like, wow. Well, it happened. But I was willing to listen to this coach and say, okay, I trust you. Tell me what it is that I need to do. I want so much to be feeling in control of my body, to be healthy again. How do I do this? You know? And slow, steady steps get you there. And we have to appreciate our progress and reward ourselves along the way. Every little thing that we do is good. Give yourself a kudo, pat on the back. Okay? Well, why not? Why do you have to wait till the very end? So remember, everyone, I don't care what your age is, has the power to change. It doesn't happen immediately, but you can transform and change your body, right? It's going to take time, commitment, discipline, but most of all, a desire, right? If you're doing this because somebody else wants you to do it, or because your trainer told you to do it, you're not, right? You're not going to be in. You have to be in it. Your desire has to be there. Someone said to me yesterday that they had, one of their clients told him, she was asking them, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about yourself, I think it was that she said, or something like that. And she rated herself like a 4. And she asked her, like, what's your level of motivation to like tackle this gym stuff? And she said, 2. And she said, you're not ready. And she said, don't you want to train me? And she said, no. I'm saying, you're not ready. Okay? You want to be a part of this process. It's not someone's going to do something to you. It's you who are going to do something for yourself. So with that, I just want to remind you that, you know, I'm proof and showing you that it doesn't matter how late in life we start. All we need to do is start. And the rest will happen. So does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Just as a guide for, say, starting a weight program, in terms of what weights to start off with, just putting it simply, how would you suggest to start, like, and how heavy, say, with, say, somebody who's 60, who's done exercise but hasn't done weights?
Okay. What I would say is you want to, because again, I'm not a personal trainer, but it's not how much, it's your assessment of that person's ability. Would you not agree? You have my trainers in here? So, you know, knowing how much, you can't say, okay, so this person is 60 and therefore I'm going to start them off with 10 pounds. It's assessing that person's ability. I told you when I first started, 5 pounds, and I couldn't raise my arm with it, okay? And there might be somebody who's 70 might take that same weight and go, what's the problem? Right? So assessing the person's ability, and that I couldn't tell you how to do because I'm not a personal trainer. So if anybody wants to jump in who's a personal trainer.
Usually what I do is ask them, or give them a weight, let's say just bicep curls, and just ask them from a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being real heavy and 1 being super easy and carrying, what would you say that is? And then just go from there.
And so what level would you say?
I go as a 60-year-old who's not used to weights, start with low. So depending on, of course, on the, right, just start real low and then just, oh, this is easy, and then you just, go from there. Yeah. But I wouldn't give them a real high weight. Because that's not only going to discourage them, it might even hurt them. But they're going to feel bad about that.
So in terms of soreness, say, after you said you like to feel sore, say in starting with new clients, would you, what is the expectations of being sore afterwards? Like, when do you think, oh, we did too much, or we didn't do
from the first to the second to the third meet, things will come together. The client's going to feel more comfortable from there. You will feel what you can do, how far you can take the client, or regress or progress. It's more about the relation you build and the journey versus the way. It's a combination of things. You got to go with your gut and feeling and stay true to what you do and just make it fun. It's not about the weight. The soreness, you want to make sure the client comes back and feels good. Just, I felt I got something. Wow, I feel different. That's the most important.
So people tend to have the feedback of that after session, like I teach Pilates, and they come back the next one and say, oh, I felt really good, I really
Yeah,
felt
so
I did
just
something.
keep doing what you do with adding some resistance. And keep it fun, mix things into it, cross-train, and build it from there. And then you'll find your niche, your specialty, whatever you want to call it or go with it. Don't focus too much on labels. Don't label things. There's no such thing as an XYZ weight or an XYZ source. Just keep it a global thing.
You don't want your client to come in and the first thing you do is make them sore. They may not come back the next day. You're like, oh, that's it. I'm not going with her. It's a feel. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I mean, there's one young lady celebrated birthday with me. Same exact birthday, same exact age. So we both turned 64 on Saturday. Same age, right? Who knows what I lift and what she lifts? Would it be the same? So we can't go by, well, if they're this age, this is how much they should lift, or, like I said, the weight process is irrelevant. It is just not something that comes into the equation. It's their feel. Thank you very much.
You talked about carbohydrate and protein in your diet, but you didn't mention anything about fat.
Oh, fat. Well, again, fat division varying upon the person and knowing your body. I happen to be very good at processing fat. I make my fat intake about 30% of my equation for me. But again, all the good fats, my peanut butter, my almond oils and stuff like that. Some people are not, so my coach can have two of us, and I have a lot of fat, and she has absolutely no fat in her diet. So figuring out what works for us. So you might want to do your program where you start off at a very reasonable amount, and then from there figure out whether you want to increase it or decrease it. But fat is not, like I said, fat is not bad, and eating fat doesn't make you fat. So you don't have to be afraid of, putting fats into your diet. Fats are extremely good for you, so you can use them and put them in your diet. Thank you very much.
Thank you.